In this video I will briefly explain inserts and send effects in Cubase. Now here in Cubase I have made a simple project, only one track with an electric guitar. So if I play this, what I'm going to do is to demonstrate how you can add reverb to it using either a plugin in an insert or using a plugin on an effects channel. And I will show you what the difference is. Let's first explain what an insert actually is. So here I have made a simplified scheme of how audio is routed in Cubase from an audio track, so our guitar loop, to the stereo out. Now the audio track normally goes through the EQ of Cubase. It will go through the panner and then to the fader for the volume, and then it will go to stereo out. Now it is a bit more complex than this, but this is kind of the routing of our guitar loop. If we are going to use inserts, we basically interrupt the audio track at this point. So we are going to insert something between the audio track and the EQ. And again, you can configure exactly where you want to insert your plugins, but for now I assume that I inserted between the audio track and the default EQ. So what you do, you interrupt basically the direct routing between the audio track and the EQ, but you route the audio track to the insert slot 1, where you may have a plugin. And then that will be routed to the insert slot 2, so the second insert slot, where you may have another plugin. And so it goes through all your plugins, and then it will be routed again to the EQ and to the stereo out. So let's go back to our Cubase project. So how are we going to do this? So we open the channel settings, and then here we have the slots to insert your plugins. So I'm going to add a reverb plugin from Steinberg. Let's take a simple one, Roomworks. And now we have inserted this plugin. We can click on this and then it will open the plugin. So now we basically go from our guitar loop to Roomworks, and then it will go to the EQ and to the stereo out. So now if we play the guitar, let's do that. Then you hear that now reverb has been added by this plugin. Now, I'm not going to explain all the settings that you can do, but I want to point out this one. So this is the mix knob, and this now determines how much reverb you put on your guitar. So if I put it all the way down, then we don't have reverb. And now I will gradually increase it, and you will hear that the amount of reverb will also increase. So this mix, and you find that this on many plugins, determines how much of this effect you will apply to your audio track. So that is how you work with inserts. And then you can add a second one. For example, we can add a delay. So let's do that also. Let's take the stereo delay. So now we go from the guitar to the reverb and then to the delay. So this is the delay, and also there we see a mix knob where we can determine how much delay we want to have. So now if we play it, so now you hear that we have reverb and delay. Now, so this is how you work with plugins in Cubase. Let's remove them. No effect, discard. Okay, close this one. So we can also do it by using an effects channel. So then let's select an effects channel. So we do plus, we say effects channel, and now we can add an effect here, a reverb. Let's take the same one, Roomworks, create outside a folder, and we will call this guitar reverb. Add track. So now we have added another track, but this is an effects track. This was an audio track. So now how does this work? So let's go back to my presentation. We are going to look at effects. What you basically do is that your original track will still be routed to the EQ and panner and fader and stereo out. But now, because we have an audio track, an effects track, we can send that audio track also to the effects track. So let's do that. So I open the channel settings again of my guitar track. And now here we have the sends. And I can open this and now select guitar reverb, which is our effects track that we added. So now we have added this one and we can enable it. So now the audio from our guitar will be sent to this effects track. So let's go back to my presentation. So we have sent our audio to the effects track, and we can also have multiple effects tracks if we want, one for the reverb, one for the delay, and each can have its own send. Now, on an effects track, we can then insert plugins again. So we can insert a reverb plugin, but we can also insert a reverb and delay. And on the effects track, also these inserts will be routed to the equalizer and panner and fader, and then be merged back in the stereo out. So instead of interrupting the routing between the audio track and the default EQ, the audio is first sent to an effects track. There the audio is processed, and then it is routed back to the stereo out. So in a sense, you are doing parallel processing. You still have your original audio, but you also have your processed audio. And that can be mixed together by moving the fader. So let's see how we do this in Cubase. So we already have sent the guitar to our guitar reverb. So now if you open this one, so if you open the channel settings, then now we see the effects track. And on the effects track, we already added the reverb plugin from Steinberg. So we can open this again. And now very importantly is that the mix knob should be all the way to 100%. So we only want to have processed audio here and not any of the original audio, because that is still now on the parallel audio track. We are going to determine the amount of reverb by the fader on the effects track and not by this knob. Okay, let's close this again. So now we have routed the audio track, so the guitar, to our guitar reverb. We have on the effects track, we have this reverb plugin, and this will be routed back to the stereo out. So let's close this and let's open the mixer. So here we see the audio track, we have the effects track with the guitar reverb, and then our stereo out. So now I will pull this down. So that means that we will not hear any reverb. So let me play this. And now I'm going to increase the fader, so we will hear more and more reverb. So instead of using the mix knob, we now use the fader of the effects track. Now the original audio is routed to stereo out, and the guitar reverb is routed to stereo out. And if you are using Cubase Pro and have the control room enabled, then you can also listen to the individual tracks. So let's first listen to the original audio and then to the audio with only the reverb. So note that we cannot solo the guitar reverb to only listen to the reverb, because if we solo this, then automatically the guitar track is also soloed, because these are linked through the send. So if we really want to listen to only to the reverb, then we need to do the listen. Okay, I hope that this explains how to use reverb either as an insert or on an effects channel. And of course, instead of using reverbs, you can also use other effects, for example, for compression, for saturation, etc. Thank you.